What the disease does is, over a period of 7 or 8 years, it turns the brain to porridge. But it does that in an intermittent and random way. And the brain tries to overcome it. It builds new pathways when one gets wrecked. And because that's happening, she was constantly going in and out of dementia. And unlike in Alzheimer's or that kind of degenerative disease, it's not a one-way road where you get worse and worse and worse and worse and you don't know what's happening to you. In this case, it's a dreadful roller coaster with the overall trend down. And she knew what was happening to her. There were times when she'd say to me, "I'm gaga, aren't I, Dixie?" And I would say, "No, you're just confused at the moment." She began to deteriorate fairly quickly. It was becoming more and more difficult to cope at home, looking after her 24/7. Sleep was becoming something that I snatched when I could. And at the same time, I was trying to keep my campaigning and other work going. All that had to go to the wall. And even now, I'm beginning to try and pick up the pieces and recover what isn't lost. And a lot is lost. But there you are, you're caring for somebody, that goes with the territory. And others will have the same experience. Your work goes, your personal life goes, everything goes. But my goodness, I do have regrets. I do have feelings of guilt. We both had a dream to get to Ullapool on the west coast and settle there, because we've both known it for decades and love it. So I was doing everything I can to put our life together and try to get us moved over to Ullapool. And on the 10th of November, she finally collapsed to the point where I had to put her into hospital. She couldn't stand, she couldn't speak. It was the end. She found a voice and she said to me, "We never made it to Ullapool, did we? And it broke my heart." Over those last few months, I rarely sat down for more than 5 minutes on end. There was constantly something forcing me to get up, trying to keep the house going, buy food, make food, prepare food, constantly worrying about when I was at the shops, constantly worrying about what I would find when I got back home. Would she be lying on the floor, which she sometimes was? Would she be in the bathroom in an appalling state? Would she have done something dangerous? Or would she be peacefully still sitting in the chair as I'd settled her when I went out? I kept a diary because I'm an academic and that's the sort of thing we do. On the 5th of December, she's already in hospital. Jo's condition is extremely poor. There are some encouraging aspects, but far more worrying ones. Swallowing has become almost impossible for her. She has been on intravenous feeding and medication, but she looks very frail indeed. Her voice is shrunk to a whisper, still hallucinating and irrational in both thought and behaviour. From time to time, I moisten her lips. She spends most of her time with her eyes closed, in another and very confused world, muttering things sometimes. I think she'll not survive this. But how long before it ends? I suspect not too long, and so does Dr. Wilson, that's the specialist from Inverness. I've never heard Jo complain about her situation. She's never said she can't bear it. She's always said she doesn't want to die. She often said, "If I ever go gaga, don't tell me." That implies living on. I wonder, given every chance, they're reconsidering her medications, narrowing the specifics to the most vital to try to keep her vital functions going right now. The difficulty of being patient with her, you know. I don't mean during the last month or so. Everything changed when I knew that it was the end. Everything changed. But before that, when I was urging her to try her best and do what she could, patience slipped sometimes. I'd get cross. I have to live with that now. But of course I didn't know at the time. And when I spoke of that to Dr. Wilson, he said, don't you dare do that. He said, you can't look back. Everybody around Joe knows that you did all you could, and you did the best you could. And looking back and questioning what you did is just tormenting yourself. I will get through this. And to me, Jo is not dead. She lives on in the wonderful times we had. And the only real sorrow is that there won't be any more of those. And last Friday, friends and I took her ashes out to the Findhorn Bay, which she knew for 40 years. And we both loved and walked along so often, right up to near the end. And I chose a time when the tide was low. And I sprinkled them across the waters and over the exposed seaweed, exposed rocks. The wind twisted round and I got a lungful of Jo. And we threw freesias, her favourite flowers, yellow freesias, across the firth. And that was our final farewell to Jo. The tide was turning, it would come in, and it would carry her and the flowers. It was a nice way to say goodbye. A nice way to say